You're gonna make me look like a drunk on television again. I try to be handsome.
You are handsome.
That's my ultimate goal every week, is to be better looking than this clown. It's not hard.
He's got to work really hard to be better than this looking guy.
Big Sexy, predictions for this weekend.
No, we're not doing that again this week. I got in trouble for that one.
Who did you get in trouble with?
Everybody, because I was wrong on everything. With that being said, I'm not gonna give a prediction because Florida is unpredictable.
That's a great line. That works. That's perfect. Yeah.
Beautiful.
Woo! Hey, I'm here. Woo! Walker Fowler is not gonna wax him this week.
Okay.
I took too much heat. I took too much heat saying that last week.
You know, I've told Mikey that if he wants to talk trash on me, he's not getting any more interviews.
Ooh.
I've said this before to him multiple times.
First of all, I said last week.
He did well. I listened in. I listened.
I said, did you see his episode? I said, Walker Fowler's going to wax him. But then I said a bunch of other things about you guys that was great. Mason cut it all out. He said, I'm using that sound bite. I'm like, oh, I'm going to catch hell for this.
Just know, Mikey, I listen in.
Florida's usually really hot, and it gets really whooped out. I know by the last lap, and the AM races get through the track, and by the time we get to it, by the last lap, the whoops are really deep to the point where it almost gets miserable, but you just got to push through.
Almost gets miserable, or it does get miserable?
I'm going to say almost. It's miserable.
Got to lead the last lap, had a flat tire, so that didn't really make it that fun, but
A little difficult, yeah?
yeah.
Great. Ready to do it again.
For road number 1, the 4x4 Pro, here at the Moose Racing Wild Boar GNCC. Wow, what a start to blast off into turn number 1. It's Robbie Pecorari. Great jump off the line by Angel McGee, but she's pinched off in the first turn as the hurricane starts blowing right off the bat. Hunter taking the early lead, but McGee trying to fire back.
That was the first win. The freaking track was obviously Florida, so we had whoops, palmettos, a little bit of everything, but that's what I'm used to, and man, I'm happy. First win in 4x4 Pro, so.
Yeah, very dusty, very rough, very dusty, and I hurt.
Hey, my chest is going to be black and blue. I mean, my hands are absolutely destroyed. It was about like riding blind that first lap out behind everybody. Not enjoyable. Not enjoyable. But made it happen. Exactly.
Out there.
It was hot. The first 2 laps were okay. The 3rd lap and the 4th lap they were brutal. I feel bad for the afternoon.
This is where I sleep.
This is it.
This is it.
Pillows?
This is my Microsoft Surface. I have an Apple phone and I use Microsoft.
That's the
computers.
That's like the lowest blow you could do to the Apple community right there.
I'm sorry. No, it's not going to be hot. It was hot 4 hours south of here.
Oh yeah.
80 degrees isn't hot. 96 is hot.
So you're ready.
Oh yeah. You know, that Croom life is not quite as hot, or Gainesville and Daytona area is not nearly as hot. But we're at is stale and hot.
So the Croom boys don't know what they're talking about.
They have no idea. Ask Hunter what he thinks of our practice track.
And what kind of answer will he give?
He said, I don't know why you ride here. You need to make a new track. So take that, big boy. Come ride a real man's track.
Yeah.
Gators do live in Florida. And there's crocodiles, but we don't talk about them.
Crocodiles just aren't the same.
Not the same, no. So it's really nice because we're, what is that, Is that warm-blooded, where your blood changes with the temperature of the air?
I feel like you're a warm-blooded kind of guy.
So as I'm out here, my blood's heating up, it's thinning up, and as it thins up, what happens? We kick.
Second, and row number 1, the XC1 Pro will be off and rolling at the Moose Racing Wild Boar GNCC. They slice, they dice. It's Walker Fowler going for the win, number 8, but Jared McClure stealing away the early lead as they head for turn 3.
Oh, whoa, never mind, they already passed that spot. Here you go, Rodney.
Oh, and at the finish line and the checker, Walker Fowler has done it under pressure. It is 8 wins consecutively here at the Moose Racing Wild Boar GNCC.
It was too easy. It needed to be a little bit hotter. Needed to be rougher for sure. That's what I said in the other interview. Wish we had another lap. It was fun. I loved that. I loved the misery. Embrace the pain, baby. It was a good time. Bryson rode awesome. I'm riding freaking awesome. I think obviously it's a 2-rider show this year. That's what everybody expected. So it's gonna be fun. I'm gonna enjoy this win, and I know how hard the rest of them are gonna be. Not get big-headed, but I still got what it takes. So that's exciting, and I like it.
Hey, did I say Walker was gonna wax him last week?
Yeah.
I meant this week. Forgive me. Forgive me.
It was Adam McGill's post this week was about right. About right. So that was where they took away the field section over there. You had no break. There was no section where you could just kind of hang on the throttle, let your tongue hang out. It was just nonstop whoop, 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 and it was. I think this year's the toughest wild boar yet. Yeah. So pumped up, pumped. So Ohio boy, 81 degrees. Second, right by half a second, we'll take that. So we'll take it. So
That still deserves a Wendy's tonight.
Wendy's, Chick-fil-A, Monster Slim Jim, whatever. I'll eat anything right now.
Oh my gosh, I'm really sore. I had to hold on I really had to dig deep that last lap. You know, I feel like I've been putting in the work, and man, that track was brutal. I came from the dig, and it's unbelievable to get a podium. I never take it for granted, and when I'm out there, I hold on to it with everything I've got. So yeah, I'm a little sore, but I'm happy. This is a good day.
Last lap was terrible, but I just tried to stay focused and tried to keep a good pace all day where I wouldn't die out, but stay fast enough so no one would catch me. But I don't know. That's by far the roughest this track's ever been, and I'm just glad to finish good, top 5, 4th in points after today. Just happy with the results today. Yeah, very glad it's over.
Got it.
Thanks.
All right, take a photo, do it for the Grand Stat Trainer. Did you have it? Make some noise for your top 3 in the XC1! Hey, if you want some swag, you gotta make some noise here at the gym. We're ready to roll. You guys snag a photograph and make some noise for your top 3 in the XC2.
And just like that, it's round 3, and we've made it to the Peach State, Ionia Pass in Washington, Georgia, Welcome GNCC Racing to town for the Specialized General. ATV racing on the docket today as Walker Fowler sits tied in points after starting the season with a second and a first-place finish to his name. Last week, he made it 8 for 8 in the Sunshine State, and he looks to break that tie in the overall points battle this weekend. But Bryson Neal's record mirrors Fowler's, and in just his third race back from injury, looks just as poised and just as fast as ever. Last week, also saw an amazing ride from Devin Feehan. After a Turn 2 crash left him dead last off the start, the young gun passed all the way back to finish 4th overall. It seems as the XC1 Junior has finally found the speed and is growing into a true contender. Could he put it all together this week for his first win? Or will Fowler or Neal continue their run up front? Find out next from round 3, the Specialized General GNCC, live on Racer TV.
Are you ready to go GNCC Racing? Hello, everyone, and welcome to America's premier off-road racing championship, the 2022 GNCC Series, presented by Specialized and AM8 National Championship. I'm Rodney Tom, along with Mikey Waynes, as we are today in Washington, Georgia, at Aonia Pass for the Specialized General GNCC. And Mikey, I'll tell you, pretty much since my tenure in this one's probably approaching the 20-year mark. Wow. As far as being here. Now, I know we took a couple of years off here after the passing of Perry Gunther and so forth, but since the new owners have come around, Mark and Sherry, we've been back, and man, I tell you, it has been an amazing history that we've had here in Northeast Georgia. And with that, man, to speak about history, we've had some history already so far here in the 22 championship.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Rodney. Hey, we're coming round number 3. I can't believe that. But, hey, ATVs have been wild. Bryson Neal with the opening round win. Walker Fowler answering back with the win. Bryson took second. So here we come into this one. Both riders tied for first place heading into this one. It is going to be an interesting day.
Absolutely. And, of course, congratulations again to Walker Fowler as he did an unprecedented 8 wins at the same facility in Florida. It all started back in his championship season, the first year that he won his championships, I believe, back around 2015. So it all just kind of snowballed up to this point. 8 championship, 8 wins now there at Palatka, and amazingly a .888 win. That was the time. So I think that was pretty significant as far as that was concerned. But, man, it only sets the stage for some great things here. If you remember last year, we had that wacky incident that took place. They came across the line. Each rider was like, what just happened out there? But, I think it was something that kind of brought these riders together in a sense, if you will. And, since that time, obviously, the injury to Bryson Neal and now come back. And here they are. I don't know what the atmosphere is between the Neal and the Fowler pits, but you know what? We've got a whole host of other riders that are knocking on the door, and they've been playing second fiddle, but don't be surprised if we see a new face on the podium again today.
Yeah, you're right, and new face, and I can't believe we're saying this, but a new face this season on the podium would be Hunter Hart, and that's hard to believe after him being a heavily favored contender heading into this season. So now it's time, and now Hunter Hart is going to start feeling some pressure out there. And, of course, Devin Feehan coming off that third place in Florida. Impressive. Didn't surprise anybody, I won't say, but definitely impressive that he's clicking this early.
Yeah, normally we've seen him click later in the season, and especially late last season. But, after talking with him and the circumstance and the situation that he was under after the summer break and what he was able to do, he's just continued that momentum into this 2022 season. So it's going to be exciting to see what's happening to him. And John Glotta Jr., too, is another rider that we cannot leave out of this mix. This kid is on the rise. He is ready to strike for a podium. I don't know, unless circumstances and situations arise, that he's ready to take the win just yet. but he's definitely going to be podium potential, and I think here in Georgia might be one of the places he can make that happen.
Yeah, no doubt. Definitely got to consider Jared McClure as well. The podium finish in round one. Not making it on the podium in Florida, which he doesn't train in the sand, but hey, we're back up here in that Georgia clay, that peanut butter like mud up here, and you know he's going to be enjoying that.
So I know a lot of riders are excited to get back here to the more traditional clay-type soils as we begin our trek kind of north back into the heartland of the GNCC Racing Nation. It's going to be an exciting day, there's no doubt.
Well, hey, we've talked about it. Now let's take a look at what we can expect out of today's track. We'll kick it to Jared Bolton with the Yamaha track description.
All right, thanks a lot, Jared. I tell you one thing that I don't think he planned for was the windy conditions that we might be seeing here this afternoon. It could get a little interesting as far as that is concerned, as far as that. The track a little bit muddy, obviously, with the rain that has come through in the last few days. But all in all, seems to be passable. It's going to be a challenge, but it's going to be exciting. It's kind of old school GNCC, Mikey.
Let's do it. Old school GNCC is right. Hey, we're going to get a word from our many fine sponsors, and when we come back, we'll be down on the starting line with those iconic 10-second calls from the Rodney Tomlin.
We all have our reasons to accomplish, to work hard. We share a common goal, to be the best. Keep fighting, put in the work, never take the easy way. Your drive and determination fuels our passion.
This Racer TV broadcast is brought to you by Specialized Turbo E-Bikes. It's you, only faster. And by Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Get ready. Concentrations of fans. Do not take unnecessary risks that endanger the safety of fans. You will be penalized for reckless racing. Race fans, crew members, and family members. Due to the nature of GNCC racing, there is no fence barrier around the race course. It is your responsibility to keep yourself and your children a safe distance from the race course. Never turn your back on oncoming racers. Use extreme caution when crossing the race course. And remember, stay off the track. For the safety of everyone, unauthorized drones are prohibited and may be confiscated. And finally, unauthorized pit vehicles are prohibited and may be confiscated. Absolutely no pit vehicles permitted in the woods or on the racetrack. And now, ladies and gentlemen, to ask a blessing on today's race, Mr. Ricky Towery.
Thank you, Rodney. And let's go to the Lord and let's have a word of prayer together this afternoon. Heavenly Father, once again, we thank you for bringing us all together safely to such a beautiful place. You blessed us with a beautiful day. The rain fell last night. It's a little slick out there in places. We ask that you would watch over these riders this afternoon. Lord, keep them safe. Let them go out there and have a good time, be it all the spectators and workers, everyone that's gathered here. Let us have a wonderful afternoon together. Lord, do continue to watch over our military men and women in all parts of the world each and every day. And do be with our leaders that they'll make the right decisions for us. Lord, be with all countries throughout the world today. Watch over each and every one of them. Lord, we want to ask a special blessing on our local policemen, firemen, and paramedics and all the small communities throughout the United States each and every day, serving to protect us. Thank you for each and every one of them. Lord, we all just need to be thankful that we're here having fun together. Lord, we just ask that you'll take us all home safely when it's over with, so we can get back together again one day to have some more fun. In Christ's name we pray, amen.
And now, ladies and gentlemen, if you would please stand, remove those caps, and cross those hearts as we honor the greatest nation in the world with the playing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what's so proud? The twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallant. Rockets regular, the bombs bursting in it gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the
Well, here we are, folks, and the stage is nearly set for GNCC competition. But before we get this race day up and rolling, we would like to take this opportunity to introduce to you our top ATV riders in the world in the XC1 Pro class. Rolling to the line today in accordance to points to the first two rounds of GNCC racing. Riding aboard the number one, fresh off a win in Florida, his 8th straight there in that great state. Out of Rogers, Ohio, on a factory Yamaha, backed by GBC Tires and Fly Racing, the number one of Walker Fowler. Riding aboard the number 241 with a season opening win, backing it up with a second. He is tied for points from Bidwell, Ohio on a Magna One Motorsports backed ride, Bryson Neal. Third in points, riding aboard the number 7 from Windsor, New York on a Fly Racing GBC Tires Yamaha, Devin Behan. The young gun aboard the number 712 from Waxhaw, North Carolina on a Pierce Performance Fly Racing GBC Tires Yamaha, John Glada Jr. He is 5th in points, riding aboard the number 3 from Casco, Pennsylvania on a JMR GBC Elka Moose Racing backed Honda, Jared McClure.
Number 733, sixth in points from Edinburgh, South Carolina on a Getter Racing Nissan-backed ride. Cole Richardson. Seventh in points aboard the 521 from Waverly, West Virginia. Over Tires, Moose Racing and Parts Unlimited backed Honda of Adam McGill. Eighth in points, running aboard the number 9, a six-time GNCC champion from Sunbury, Pennsylvania, out of Access Fly Racing. Ninth in points, riding aboard the number 6 from Akron, Ohio, out of B&R Motorsports, GBC Motorsports, Hauser Racing Yamaha, Josh Merritt. He finished second in the 2021 season from Newfield, New York, aboard the number 2 on a Maxxis Ithaca Recreation Sports WPS backed Yamaha, Hunter Hart. The number 15, celebrating his 28th year as an XC1 Pro Class racer from Aurora, Ohio, on a GBC Fly Racing factory-backed Yamaha, Johnny T. Johnny Gallagher. The rookie, number 713, from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the Bulletproof Doors B&R Motorsports Cinch Graphics Yamaha, Ronnie Rush. And the number 703, a former XC2 Pro-Am champion from Petersburg, Indiana, on an action on. And that, ladies and gentlemen, your starting lineup for this, the Specialized General GNCC. Our riders are finding their way onto the starting line and picking their start position for today's third round of racing action. And of course, we get the stage set as our DJ finds his way off the trailer and into its trusty RMX 1000 Yamaha. And we ask DJ Chud, would you please remove the beat? That's right, the monster. Off the starting line now and clearing that first turn. Our next starts here on this historic starting line in Northeast Georgia. As we turn our attention to Ricky Towery up there in that first turn region, of course, he finds his way out and gets set to signal these riders and begin our starting sequence here for this general. He lets these riders know 1 minute now before the start. And riders begin their last minute rituals before the green flag waves. Are you ready to go GNCC Racing? Yeah, I didn't even hear that. Come on, George, I know it's windy. I know it's cold, but things are about to heat up. So I'm going to ask you one more time. Are you ready to go GNCC Racing? 10 seconds. And roll number 1, the XC1 will be off and rolling at the Specialized General. It is the number 2 of Hunter Hart grabbing the early lead, the 521 of Adam McGill close in tow at that number 2 spot. It looks like maybe Cole Richardson back at third as we get to the XC2 Pro-Am class coming up next. Jay Shadron, Albert Jadis,
Shane McMillan, Grayson Eller, Brandon Owens, Nick Royalty, Daniel Peters, Chase Allen, Wyatt Wilson, Dylan Walraven, Brody Livingood, Stephen Harrell, and Tanner Walker all set and ready to roll in 10 seconds. And around that first turn and across that stripe first, the 830 Yamaha Vet A30 Plus class. Coming up next, Big Papa Pete, Jeff Pickens, also Brad Whitehead, A.J. Kuntz, Luke Reeves, Jonathan Hugate, John Arnold, Matthew Silsby, Nick Muno, T.J. Barrett, Cody Holt, Kevin Yoho, Corey Jennings, and Jared Little. Senior A40 plus. Is that? Oh, man. Love that sound as they roll into that first turn. The man in all black. Going to be the 8-10 of Corbin Knox out of Stoneboro, Pennsylvania on the MEK Racing Engines GBC Fly Racing back ride to the College A 16 to 21-year-old class. Coming up next. 10 seconds. Keaton Henderson, Alex Teeman, Cody Forrester, Jacob Fleming, Ian Burns, Dalton Keys, Riley Salick, Nathan Dearborn, Trevor Furby, Ethan Meyer, Javron Anderson, Tyler Coulter, Joey Osell, Tyler Cox, Dominic Stevens, John Ashcraft, Kai Arbogast, Cody McCauley, Seth Wilson, Lane McCormick, Zach Knight, Chance Hickey, also Corey Vanderliner, Lane Fetcher, Damian Hawkins, the 928 of James Squad out of Waxhaw, North Carolina on a Pierce Performance Fly Racing Machine with a whole shot, the 989 of Mason Howard from Rockville, Indiana, also out there with us as we go to the Junior A 22 plus in 10 seconds. Jeremy Ladon, Brady Myers, Bryson Mollahan, Henry Moore, Wesley Wirtz, Colton Kasuda, Jason Como, Alex Elliott, Blake Vanderpool, Andrew Hickson, Frankie Egress, Ryan Thompson, Justin Miller, Todd Filler, Travis Enderlaw, Travis Planis, Devin Masters, and Caden Ryan. 317, Alex Elliott from Valley City, Ohio, to BNR Motorsports, GBC Tires, HMF backed ride. Grabbing the early lead there as we go to Vet B30 Plus class. Derek Hart, David Kite, Taylor Lazelle, Ryan Simmons, Steve Schaefer, Nick Miller, Dusty Gatos, Sean Slatterly. 10 seconds. Travis Raphael, Stephen Moore, Joey Margaria, and Corey Pancake. Around that first turn as they get it all sorted out, it's the 419 of Nick Miller from Bristolville, Ohio, to BNR Motorsports Motozilla back ride. Senior B40 Plus class. Coming up next, we got Tim White, Rick Marino, Scott Wilhelm, Douglas Bailey, Shane Ward, Chad Judy, Kenneth Tucker. 10 seconds. Ivo Pahalik, Jeremy Van Vossen, Jason Disco, Timothy Polche, Jason Pfister, also Bobby McCauley, Forrest Cross, Mike Reiser, Robert Bennett, Robert Stevens, Kevin Presnell, and Richie McCauley. 412, Jason Disco from Vienna, Ohio, on a J&J Performance back ride. Michael Ward, John Williams, Denton White, Preston Rapsack, Andre Williams, Christopher Howard, Connor Brandt. 10 seconds. Caden Bruno, Hayden Hunter, Michael Elia, William Lynch, Evan Gannon, Gavin Temple, Blake Norman, Owen Burns, Jonathan Gregory, Bryson Bellamy, Ryan Mason, Evan Osborne, Jack Neely, Chase Rogers, Xander White, Colin Daniels, Asher Polar, Jeremy Kogar, Blake Vale, Michael Udonis, Briggs Lazelli, William Walden, also Alex Nelson, Richard Williams, Easton Snyder, Kane Skinner, and Ricky Surgeon. Also, I believe William Walden. Yeah, we got that one. I believe it's the 103 Denton White from Manchester, Ohio, and a white on the Dutch Show Cattle back ride. 10 seconds. Junior B 22 plus class, William Wallace, Jordan Burnett, Dylan Stein, Michael Donston, Trace Furby, Justin Cotter, Logan Case, Sean Newhouse, Tyler Baldwin, Austin Bruni, and Colin Dunn. .917, Colin Dunn from Burtonsville, Maryland, I believe, grabbing that early lead there. And that is your last start as we have, whoa, wind blowing everywhere, folks. It is a windy one, rain last night. A little sunshine and cool temperatures today, but the racing action is certainly hot. Who's going to come out on top? Hunter Hart finally turning things around on this start out front on the number 2. Can he make it happen here today and turn things around in 2022? Stick around to find out. GNCC Live continues after this.
We all have our reasons to accomplish, to work hard. We share a common goal, to be the best. Keep fighting, put in the work, never take the easy way. Your drive and determination fuels our passion.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Cometic Gaskets seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best. Cometic Gaskets are constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environment. Whether it's championships on the line or a day in the dirt with friends, professionals and enthusiasts depend on Cometic. Cometic Gaskets, sealing championships since 1989.
AMSOIL runs on freedom and has since 1972. We punish our products firsthand in our world-class laboratories and beyond, because some things can't be learned from a test tube. Run with us.
This Racer TV broadcast is brought to you by Specialized. Specialized Turbo e-bikes. It's you, only faster. And by Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Get ready.
Live here for round number 3, the Specialized General GNCC here in Washington, Georgia. And if you're just now tuning in on RacerTV.com, it is windy, folks, to say the least. It's cold, it's windy. Now I know if you're back up home.
They might honestly come back from commercial.
And welcome back to GNCC Live. Apologize for that, folks. Hey, again, if you're just now tuning in here on Racer TV, thank you, Adam. Want to welcome you guys in here watching with us at home. To say the least, it is windy. Very windy. It's so windy, in fact, it's been chaos out here. We got some rain last night, and I know what you guys are thinking at home. Yeah, at least you don't have snow if you're up north. And you are right. But nonetheless, pretty wild conditions down here in Georgia. Definitely different than what we saw a week ago down in Florida. So, again, this is round number 3, the Specialized General GNCC. And to get us started, we're going to take a look at those Specialized race start recaps here, or start replays, I should say. And we start with row number 1, the XC1 Pro Class. And jockeying for position, a man who needs a good race here today, the number 2 of Hunter Hart. He has had, boy, if you ask him yourself, pretty down about those first couple of rounds, and rightfully so. Not what he expected out of himself, not what we expected to see early on in the season from Hunter Hart, but maybe today is the day where we have our 3rd winner in 3 rounds of racing. We'll know in a couple of hours. XC2 jockeying for position out there, grabbing the whole shot in the early lead is Brody Living Good, and I'd say he is living good, Livin, right now, living good. So congratulations to those 2 riders snagging the whole shots. Taking a look at our Yamaha Racing track map here today. This course gives you everything you want in a GNCC, just a little bit over a 12-mile finish. You got, obviously, our featured points there, the Monster Mile, the FMF Power Point, and, of course, Method Race Wheels. Method Alley also included in this one. Good race reports this morning. Overall, everybody's kind of like the track. It's wet, though. It's definitely wet, and riders dealing with being freezing cold. As a matter of fact, I think we caught up with Adam McGill, who talked a little bit about what these guys could expect from the track today. Maybe some of the things he saw watching the AM race. Had a little interview with him.
He might have got tired.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, great. So there you go. If you guys were wondering, what the heck's Adam McGill going to do after he retires from racing? Apparently he's taking my job, man. I don't know about that. Maybe he'll join me. Hey, Rodney's the one talking about retirement, not me, and I'm still here. So, hey, DK, what's going on, dude?
Not much, man. Just glad to be here to check out the race. It's a little windy.
A little bit.
But there's been a lot of fire on the track today.
Yeah.
The early races went pretty well. They look pretty muddy. So it might be tough to call some of the guys by just looking at them, but we got the timing and scoring going, so we ought to have some good info.
Yeah, I believe, correct me if I'm wrong, they're in the booth. You guys will know better than me, but I think they're actually bypassing a portion of the track here for lap number 1. I know that was the case for this morning's race, so I'm assuming it'll be that way here for this afternoon. So what we'll see on the lap times for that lap number 1, I believe, will be a little shorter than what we'll see the rest of the race. I could be wrong on that, but I'm pretty sure that's how it's working. But right now, you guys are looking at the FMF PowerPoint, and if you're watching at home, you're like, man, where is that awesome drone footage? Well, a wind advisory is in effect. Yeah. So probably won't see the drone today. Wind gust anywhere from 15 to 40 miles an hour, and you look around and nobody's got the pop-ups out. Nobody's got the awnings out on the RVs. Forget about it. It's just batten down the hatches. It's been pretty wild here in the last 24 hours. And, man, is it cold.
Yeah, there was a few guys that didn't get the warning, so a few canopies went airborne. But
Shocker,
yeah. Sure.
Well, looking into today, obviously the big story, Bryson Neal, Walker Fowler coming into today, both with 1 win apiece, both with a second place. That was for Bryson in round 2, and obviously a second place for Walker there in round number 1. So those riders entering today's race tied in points at 55. And how about it for Devin Feehan, a ride of consistency, a 4th and a 3rd coming into today, puts him 3rd place in points, and just behind him, as you see on screen there, the Sneaky Snake, Jared McClure in 4th, and John Glotta Jr. rounding out your top 5. Biggest shocker there, no doubt about it. No Hunter Hart in top 10 in points. Hard to believe. And how about it, Jay Shadron out of that XC2 class, sitting there 9th in points. But today, I think, might be that day where Hunter Hart comes out and it puts a heater on. I got to think in his mind, I got to win. If nothing else, the man's got to start clicking off some podiums, no doubt about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and you can't let Walker Fowler and Bryson Neal start walking away with it, because then you're climbing a big mountain you don't want to have to do.
Yeah, no doubt about that. We've seen that the last couple of weeks. We'll see. Walker Fowler, that post-race interview, pretty interesting. Walker's got a subtle way of stirring the pot. You love him, you hate him, you got to hand it to the guy. He knows how to stir things up, and he said boldly, first and foremost, said, I don't lose in Florida, which the man doesn't. Every time we've been down there, he picks up the win there in Palatka. So he's 100% correct on that. And then he kind of took a little sideways jab at everybody not named Walker Fowler or not named Bryson Neal, saying, I expected this to be a 2-man championship race. And, here we are. I think after 2 rounds, that's exactly where we're at and what we'll see moving forward. So kind of a jab at those guys of, hey, step up, race with us. Well, prove me wrong,
Yeah, racing's a lot more than just action on the quad, Mentally, it's part of the game also. And if you can start messing with them, get them thinking, then, it works.
Get them worrying.
Yeah, and, he's a past champion, so when the guy starts, throwing some jabs at you, people pay attention.
That's right. 69 wins coming into today for Walker Fowler, so he is on the hunt for win number 70.
Wow.
Of course, that big mark to beat there. Chris Borich, the all-time wins leader for ATVs, sitting there with 75. So it is within reach for Walker Fowler this season.
Yep. Bill Balance right behind him with 67. Barry Hawk, 49. Bob Salone, 24.
Iron Man. There he is.
Some of those old boys, remember now, they didn't have that technology, the tire balls. So,
that's for sure.
You got to contribute some of those Barry Hawk wins for just good old-fashioned Ironman riding also.
Amen. Take a look here. Last year, 2021, Walker Fowler did take the win here. Bryson Neal finished in the number 2 spot. The Sneaky Snake, Jared McClure, 3rd. The Gator, 4th. And Chris Borich rounded out the top 5 here in Georgia. I always kind of think of Georgia as it's sort of that first race of the year where guys are getting, more comfortable, kind of settled into that race pace. Of course, Big Buck, obviously a traditional track for what we have for GNCC, but it's round 1. You got those round 1 jitters, kind of worrying and thinking and maybe overthinking. And then Florida's that one-off. We go down there, we battle in the sand. Some guys practice there in the off-season. Some guys don't. But then when we get up here into Georgia, it's like, okay, now we're going to start seeing how you kind of expect things to start unfolding as the season progresses.
Well, all the guys that train in Florida, that's great for Florida round. You're going to get that one-off race, you'll have that under your hat. But, you know, you come here to Georgia and it's muddy.
Yeah.
Now you're looking at, well, hey, I haven't ridden in mud, you know,
right.
since last year.
Yeah,
So-
no kidding.
So some of the northern guys, you know, they might have a little advantage here training up north in the cold. That's going to be a big
Yeah.
advantage today.
Yeah, no doubt about that. Some things to note here this morning when we look at from the micros to the youth, both micros, ATVs, and bikes, we had somebody from row number 2 end up in an overall on adjusted time. Same thing in the youth, and then flirting with it a little bit there in the AM race. So I don't know, there's just something about today. Maybe we see an XC2 guy, Jay Shadron. Maybe he ends up on the box here today in an overall on adjusted time. Who the heck knows? We got a long ways to go before we start claiming that for him. But
well, you know, talking to a few of the guys,
day.
Mikey, there's some soft spots out there. And one guy makes one mistake, bottlenecks up a couple guys.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, an XC2 guy's right there. Here they come.
So there we go. Walker Fowler is now out in front. So we're thinking, okay, Walker, Devin Feehan, and Bryson, we believe, in that 1, 2, and 3 spot.
Yeah.
So tight, and you got to wonder what happened with Hunter Hart after the hot start, picking up the whole shot. And where's he at now?
A little bit of a gap here at the 11-mile marker. Here he comes.
Close out of that. Oh, yeah.
They're already covered in mud. Everybody's plastered. So it's going to be a tough race all the way to the end. You know, these guys are cold. You're going to be hard on the bike. It's going to potentially have a little bit of overheating issues. We've seen some of that in the morning rounds with some overheating.
Yeah, I saw some smoking machines out there. I hadn't heard any reports of anybody blowing them up, but definitely in the realm of possibilities here. So these guys coming through mile marker 11. I'm trying to get our scoring computer up and working here. Bear with me.
Drone coverage here. Yeah, still looks like Walker Fowler out front. Hey, the drone at the high winds, 40-mile-an-hour winds, he can still fly that thing pretty well. They're getting close now here to the auxiliary pit, going by Walker Fowler's pit. Here he comes. Down close, near the starting line. Different area on the track, but close. He ought to be coming through the finish after this, isn't that correct?
Yeah, correct. We should get him in there. There you go. Hey, hats off to the Racer TV crew. I didn't think we'd have any drone footage today.
40-mile-an-hour winds, Mikey.
He did tell me, he said, Mikey, we tested it out earlier. We had that thing in the air. I was using, max speed on it, and he wasn't moving.
That's awesome. He's out there doing it.
We will try to keep this drone up as long as we can today. Hopefully the wind has died down a little bit, or at least enough where we can.
Coming into the finish now. Little tight section right here before the finish. Lets them bunch up a little bit. Go through, get checked, do the checkpoint. Little tight. A couple of those banners might not be there come towards the end of the race.
Yeah, we had that
had
issue earlier.
Some of those big early morning race with those big ATVs, the quads, the 4x4s, they could probably just tear up anything, really. I'm sure they run trees over through the woods. They make their own trails, I'm sure of it.
So dealing with some internet issues here, folks. We apologize for that. We'll get her going and dialed here in just a moment. Waiting on live timing and scoring to come back to us.
Yep. So those of you that they're not here watching on TV, it did rain last night pretty heavily, some high winds. But you can see through the tree coverage, the sun's still kind of getting down in there, so it's going to help dry up a little bit of it. But it's still pretty soft in a lot of places. It's still pretty wet. A lot of standing water in a few spots. So I figure they got one lap under. They get a lap under their belt. They're going to start to kind of get a better feel for it. But somebody's going to have to put the hammer down if they're going to want to catch Walker Fowler.
Yeah, that's exactly what you don't want if you're not Walker Fowler, is him checking out early out front. Now, obviously, last weekend, Bryson was able to kind of hang in with him there. And, of course, you go back a couple of weeks, or a few weeks, I should say, Bryson able to edge him out for the P1 there. But, yeah, Bryson and Walker definitely have set themselves apart in these first couple of rounds, so it's going to be interesting to see if we have more of that here today. But Devin Feehan, each ride he has where he finishes on the I got to think, after summer break last year, Devin Feehan he found another gear. Something worked for him in that summer break, and it's been working for him since. And I was curious to see if he would come out here in 2022 and be able to continue making that progress. And without a doubt, I think last race answered that with a podium finish, and already riding up front with those boys here early in this one in Georgia.
Yeah, for anyone who's never been here to Georgia, you got to come check it out. What a neat location. Got a cool little pump track for the kids. They're out there on their bicycles, the Stasic bikes, riding. You got plenty of beautiful parking, really. You can get yourself some underneath the trees if you want. Whatever you're looking for, the place has got it all. There's a oval track up there.
I forgot about that.
They won't let me take the Subaru on the oval track.
Oh, that's not fair.
But you can see it. It's pretty neat there in the drone footage. This is a pretty cool location.
Yeah, great facility for some GNCC, no doubt about that.
What do we got here? This is old school. We need the help of old school. We get Rodney in here, we'll have it figured out.
As far as I know, but we could not be.
There he is.
Rodney Tomlin here to save the day. Rodney, take us away, dude.
Rodney, help us.
It's pandemonium today, man.
Wow, it's been that way all day, and I apologize if my headset is making noise. It sounds like it's clicking and popping. I don't know if that's me or what. But anyway, somebody is. Wow, what a start. Hunter Hart really turning things around. I haven't really had a chance to necessarily find out what's been going on since that point. Oh, we got one over in the pro pit. Somebody getting a little wild. That is John Glott. No, I thought that was a Glotta there for a moment. Wonder if he was trying to turn around what was going on there. Mercy sakes alive. So things happening down in Pro Row right now as we check in with the action there, going by the official merchandise trailers there where you can get all your Moto Tees merchandise. If you want some GNCC apparel, you can go to mototees.com, by the way, and order that and have it delivered right to your house. You can wear your GNCC hoodies and shirts and things like that. They have it all there online. As we pick up with some action here, there is Walker Fowler. Looks like he's taken over point, guys, and we're nose to tail back there in that number 2 position. Was that still Hart, or was that?
I believe it's Feehan.
Feehan moving up. These guys, somebody said, enjoy what you're about ready to witness today, because you're not going to be able to see a whole lot as far as the riders are concerned. I will say this much about the course conditions. Unfavorable as they were early this morning, they have certainly turned around quite a bit. Now, the low-lying areas might seem to be a little bit more nasty and gnarly, and what we're seeing is,
I think it's
3. All righty, as we're continuing to watch. Sorry for the technical difficulties we're having. Hopefully you're not hearing the same thing that I'm hearing here.
It works.
It works.
All right.
Adam Gordon, our producer, making his way in and hits the switch and says, it works. You fixed it.
It's a good day to get one of those hats you're wearing, Rodney. It looks good on you. It's got to be warm.
I got this over at the Moto Tees.
The Moto Tees guys got what now? Do you call it a beanie or a toboggan?
I call it a toboggan, but you know the people from the north,
they'll give me hell for it.
Yeah, they say those are sleds. Well, toboggans for us. actually, am I talking now?
Yeah.
Toboggans for us more southern boys are actually hats or the stockings or whatever they call them, beanies. I think it's this one. We figured it out. It's Donnie. Yeah. It's we figured it out. It's 2. It's the one in the middle, guys. So stay away from that one. As we're getting things back up and rolling and back up to speed here. We're watching. I believe we're waiting now. Here, this will be for. We're on lap 2 now, right? Yeah, I believe we are too. And I didn't even hear you coming through that time. So, hey, turn it back three back on, Adam. If it's off, it may not. Try this.
Yeah, I got a little bit of feedback through it.
How about now? That's funny. You turn on 2 and 3 works, and
you do that.
yeah. Wow, that is odd. Both 2 works both 2 and 3 today. So sorry, folks at home, we are a little bit baffled here as far as headsets are concerned in the technical aspect. Jay Shadron is leading the overall, as Mikey Wayne says. I called that. Now listen to this, Mikey. I want you to come here and look at lap times. Come here. Look how tight you were from being right and wrong. Lap time 24:01.55, 24:01.76. 2/10 of a second is the only difference in that time. How did you feel that out, Mikey Waynes?
Well, I gambled, to be completely honest. I'm not even going to lie. But what's funny, hey, they're talking about it. I just saw some comments on Racer TV on the YouTube feed. The fans were saying top five, Jay Shadron. They're predicting an overall for Jay Shadron's snowshoe.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what, it's a possibility that we could see something like that before that, especially if he continues at this pace. But again, it's still early on. Devin Feehan running back in second in the XC1 Pro class. That places him 3rd overall right now, about 1.5 seconds back. Brandon Owens right there in the thick of things as well. He is 4th place overall, 2nd in the XC2. And Bryson Neal is 5th overall, 3rd in class. And I'm going to be honest with you, I didn't expect to see this kind of craziness and wackiness until tomorrow, whenever the 2-wheel action hits the racetrack, because of all the insanity that's been taking place there as far as rider injuries and things of that nature. But here today, I don't know if it's conditions, if it's just circumstance and situation. And you got to just say, I think those two have probably pushed each other to a whole new level. And between those two, they, like you say, we might see these guys pushing themselves into an overall winning position. Fowler, again, when you look at elapsed time, 2/10 of a second is the only difference between these guys. And we know as the race wears on, we can expect that Fowler is going to pick things up a little more. We know that he had to fight to get up to the pack a little bit, so that's going to slow his lap time down a little bit. But it's going to be interesting to see whether or not Jay Shadron is going to be able to continue that pace, podium pace that he's running on right now. And all things considered, when you look at it, the top 4 are separated by 4 seconds, but there's obviously 2/10 of a second overall that separates Shadron and Fowler. Feehan, who is 3rd overall, 1.5 seconds back behind Walker Fowler, and 2.4 seconds back is Devin Feehan behind Jay Shadron. So, wow.
I can guarantee you, Rodney, that Jay Shadron probably going to be getting some pit boards out there here that say 10A, and that is going to be some extra motivation for him as well. I mean,
well, interestingly, I talked with Jay. I think it might have been right after the first round, or it might have been during the first round, but we were talking, and I said, hey, man, I said, it would have been before round 2, I guess, in Florida. I said, pretty impressive what you're able to do from row 2, man, that 5th place position. I said, don't be surprised if you get a podium. I said, heck, dude, the way you're rolling, you might be able to skim one through and get an overall win. Now, we're still early, and I'm going to tell you, we know how that all works as far, but
hey, if he can move himself up in points when we get to snowshoe, when we're doing those, old school Blackwater 100 starts,
it's all over then at that point.
It's on.
Yeah.
I mean, it's on. But you got to think, too, man, if I'm Walker Fowler, arguably the GOAT. He's closing in on the all-time wins here, the championships, all that. I'm saying heck no. Right. Not a chance. Not in my watch, buddy. So it'll be interesting. But nonetheless, Jay's riding great right now out there, and an impressive run for him. And, boy, how about it for Devin Feehan, Rodney? I mean.
Well, the consistency rolls on. Whatever switch flipped for him in that offseason, or in the summer break last year, I heard you making the comments that he was, obviously, about ready to hang up the boots. He was just going to go out and start having fun. Well, obviously, running up front is fun. He figured that out. Hey, we'll see if he can continue the run up front and keep the fun rolling. Can Jay Shadron stay out front and win from row number 2? That and so much more as we check it all out here from round 3. This is the Specialized General GNCC. We'll be right back.
Last season was my best season ever by far. I won a lot of races. I won a championship, and it was also my first year using ARMA. And one of the things I noticed was just my ability to string good days together. Like especially in the summertime in Florida, where you're riding every day and the heat index is 108 degrees and you're doing 230s and going to the gym and bicycle and all that stuff. I think in the past I've been super inconsistent day to day. Yeah, I may have a good race here or a good day during the week there, but overall I think where I improved the most was my consistency in my recovery.
I'm 7-time GNCC champion Walker Fowler, and I run GBC.
Like a bullet into the first turn, the number 1 with the pink helmet and pink bars. It is Walker Fowler, the 7th.
Fist bump. You should be proud of yourself, Devin Feehan. What a ride today.
I'm Devin Feehan, and I run GBC.
I'm Josh Merritt, and I run GBC.
I'm Chris Borch, and I run
GBC.
Hey guys, Chris Borch here. I ride a Yamaha YFZ 450R in the Pro class at the GNCC. I also run AMSOIL oil in my engines. I run the 10W40 ATV, UTV oil. Had nothing but great luck. We just ran in Florida last weekend in a super hot race, really hard on clutches, and the oil worked great. Pulled the clutches out and they look brand new. So I highly recommend going with AMSOIL.
And welcome back to GNCC Live, where once again a big part of our GNCC Racing Nation is not only our amateur and professional riders, but also our youth riders, Mikey. And man, what a great battle we had out there today. A couple different leaders throughout the course of the race today. And when it was all said and done, I think that it was a surprise whenever the rider came. It was a brand new winner, actually. So we had a chance to catch up with him. Well, there you go. Jordan Burge actually able to make things happen. And that, like I said, there was like 2 or 3 different leaders throughout the course of that race. I listened to that one intently this morning and was pretty surprised. And I'll be honest with you, excited to see some new names out there.
It's cool. It's always good to see a rider get their first overall win. Mom and Dad are excited. And you know what's interesting, Rodney? I always kind of say this just to build up hype in the pro race. Rarely does it play out to be true. But, you know, when the show started, I said, hey, in MXC1, the micros for bikes and ATVs, we had riders from row number 2 in the overall. In the youth, we had a rider from row number 2 up in the top 3 in the overall. AM, not necessarily, but that's very, very rare for WXC and 4x4 Pro. But I started the show and said, hey, maybe today's the day we get an XC2 rider in our top 3, and here we go. You got Jay Shadron out there leading the way on adjusted time. So,
aren't you the
normally those preludes don't, you know, it's just hype, but the hype is real today.
Man, it's always real as far as I'm concerned. You know, that's the beauty of it. I mean, a lot of times we do come in with a lot of hype, but the beauty of it is the hype that we spiel is actually doable. It's within the realm of possibility and reason, to be honest with you. And oftentimes the reason we hype things up are because the elements are right for things to happen in that direction. And you're right, absolutely. The elements are right for an XC2 guy to be a top rider here today. And again, with only 0.2 of a second early in the race, I don't know if and Owens are racing at right now. Both those riders are fast. Class he does now. Both those riders are fast. Class he doesn't want to be beaten by.
Yeah, no doubt. That's a big challenge. You know, Jay Shad was around for years before and walked away from racing for quite a bit. And he's shaking things up here. He did as an amateur last year. And
he ran the junior A class last year. I believe top amateur. He's running the number 12, which means he scored an overall top 12, which is pretty impressive for an amateur rider. And speaking of amateur riders, top amateurs today are coming from the Vet A30 Plus class, where Big Papa P, Jeff Pickens.
Big names there.
Yeah, Jeff Pickens, 16th place overall right now. Kevin Yoho, time in his career. Kevin Yoho is 18th overall, second in class, and Brad Whitehead from Sinking Spring, Pennsylvania, is third in the Vet A class. He is 20th overall right now, so that's pretty cool to see those Vet A riders in the top 20 right now, and a host of the XC2 riders. Now, let's break this down class by class for you, because we've been talking a lot about the overall since basically Shadron checked in, but it's Fowler, Feehan, Bryson Neal in third. Hunter Hart has dropped back to a 4th place position. The gap puts him about almost 9 seconds behind Bryson Neal. Adam McGill in 5th, another 1.6 behind him. It looks like both Hunter Hart and Adam McGill must have taken the same line, because when I last seen them, they were running nose to tail like that anyway. So Jared McClure back in the and McClure is back there as well. We got actually rounds out your top 10. Good start for Johnny here in his 28th season. I know he's had a couple of struggles. He had a motor issue, or an issue at last round, technical difficulty that took him out of the race. He wasn't too happy about not finishing. He understood the circumstance.
Sure.
That was the cool thing.
Was that real quick, Rodney? Was that Coltrane in second to last in Austin Abney?
Yes.
Last in class.
Yes, 11th, Cole Richardson, Austin Abney in 12th. Now, I'm not sure, but wasn't Cole one of the top 5 riders off the front
I believe
line?
so, yeah. So we saw it a lot this morning in that AM was bottlenecks. We're talking about, and like it is always, most riders get stuck in it, but the ones that find the way around it quickest prevail. So that might be the case there.
It's right. Dylan Walter even in 4th. Grayson Eller rounds out the top 5, and he is a top. Now, get this. When you look at the overall, I was kind of shocked, and I was wondering how far back was Grayson Eller. After all that, he large part, obviously, to the XC1 Pro class. Now, if he can start working his way through some to the XC1 Pro class. Now, if he can start working his way through some of those guys on adjusted time, we'll probably see Grayson Eller elevate up through the top 20 pretty quickly into a top 10 overall, I would imagine. But currently running 5th in class, Peters, the 352 and 7th. Chase Allison is 8th. Shane McMillan in 9th. And Nick Peters, the 352 and 7th. Chase Allison is 8th. Shane McMillan in 9th. And Nick Royalty rounds out the top 10 in class there. Here's one of my favorite classes, the College A class. We got some heat in this one, dude. I'm talking James Glotta, that is John Glotta Jr.'s little brother, one of his little brothers. Joey Osell, another rider out of Mechanics Town, Ohio. He's running in 2nd. Lane McCormick, another blistering fast kid out of Muncie, Pennsylvania, in 3rd. Alex Tiemann out of Waterford, Ohio, 4th. And Parker Henderson, former top youth rider, rounding out the top 5 here in this one.
Some big names there. Big names of the former youth days, which doesn't really seem that long ago, but really it was just a couple of years ago. Look at this, Rodney, on screen there. This is the trailer of Walker Fowler to-do list.
Win. Well, he's on his way to maybe making that happen for currently physically out front. Some of the other riders in that College A class, 6 through 10, Nathan Dearborn, Keaton Henderson, John Ashcraft, Tyler Cox, Seth Wilson, also Dalton Keys and Damian Hawkins, a couple of front runners. We got a new leader.
I think it's Devin Feehan out in front now, Rodney, leading the way, but he has got some riders in tow there. It is about a 4-way battle, it looked like. But, yeah, if I am not mistaken, that was the number 7 out front of Devin Feehan.
Wow, interesting things happening here as our leaders are still pretty close together in this front pack, Mikey, as far as physically on the racetrack. So that's interesting to keep an eye on. But just finishing my thoughts real quick, Dalton Keys, Damian Hawkins, a couple of front runners in that College A class we expect to see all the way back in like 16th and 17th place positions. We turn our attention back here. Now we're going to be waiting on and should be seeing, if not already, the number 12 of Jay Shadron checking in here any moment. And if he does check in here soon, that does mean that he's still within that minute that he needs to be in to work on that adjusted time. And here he comes now. I believe that is Shadron leading, and looks like he's not got Brandon Owens back in that number 2 spot, or does he?
No, that was the number 9. That was
Chris Borich.
Chris Borich, yeah. Man, I'm still not used to seeing Chris Borich number 9.
Well, I seen Baby Blue, I thought, on Jay Shadron earlier today, and maybe that was last race. But, maybe Shadron's lost a little bit of time. That's Chris Borich. He's kind of far back, unless Shadron was ahead of him physically, and that's quite possible the way things are going
He might have been in the pack of riders covered in mud.
Right, there were several of those.
Mud.
See some more red number plates coming through here. And those headlights out there, I've seen headlights on there as well. And here through the FMF PowerPoint at the 10-mile marker, we are due in any moment, but we expect these riders will be late here on this second lap of racing. Fowler checking in any moment now. Well, should be, but he's past that 10-mile marker. But according to timing and scoring, if you're watching this, it's saying he's late. Well, we're just now at the 11-mile marker. Mikey, I'm not real sure what mile marker we actually started on, but generally we have a little extra time. Yeah. The lap times are a little longer most of the time, not all the time. Sometimes we start right, the way it works right before the end of the race instead of or the lap. But whatever. Anyway, here we are this time, and I believe obviously we started probably a couple miles into this race course. If I would be a guessing man, I didn't get a chance to listen to the course description intently in that part of it this morning, or this afternoon. So. At least an 11, working on 12-mile race course, and that's been the tradition as of recently. Is that your leader? I believe that's Feehan. And it freezes up, so I can't quite for sure.
I apologize for that, folks. I will vouch. Weather has not been our friend today. The wind has
that looked like Bryson Neal going through there with those yellow numbers back there, so he's not far off the pace of the front three physical riders right now.
XC1 carrying some speed now. They know they can't let, if these first two races are any indication, Rodney, they cannot let the leaders get that big gap like we saw in round 1 and round 2. And I think so far so good, to be honest. It's been it's been tight through almost to the halfway point of this one.
Well, taking a look at this part of the racetrack right here and the parts that we've seen, right here, this might give you a better indication of what these riders are facing when they're out on the racetrack as we take a look at our Yamaha live drone from Yamaha Racing. Now, you can see the main line for the most part is pretty good, but those riders earlier this morning had some mucky stuff to work their way through, and in these lower lying areas, as you can see, there's still some water, there's still some mud, because even these afternoon riders are coming out covered basically head to toe. Oh, a little passing action going on there now. So that was, I'm not sure if that's our front runners up front or not, but I know we're watching some Yamaha live drone racing action, and trying to determine right now who we are watching. Can you tell who that is right now? Oh, that is our lead back. So that is, excuse me.
Here we go, Rodney. Fuel time. Who's going to get out of here first?
Feehan is in, and he's going to get some fuel.
Fresh set of goggles.
I believe everybody's going to be stopping this time.
Yeah.
It's all about fresh goggles, maybe some fresh gloves, at least wipe some of that mud off. They're ready in the Chadron pits. You can see that number 12. They are anxious. That can bouncing up and down. The water bottle is, come on, get through here.
Well, I sure didn't see anybody get out in front of Devin Feehan right there, so I think he's going to come through as our physical leader on the track after 2. Mark McGill there, the mustache. There's Big Sexy. Going to work. Are we doing extra work to Jared McClure's machine? No, it's McGill's.
Oh, it's McGill.
I think it's McGill's. I think McGill is off the machine now, back on. Okay.
Well, that's good news that he's back on, but it's unfortunate that he had an issue that he had to get off and take care of. Feehan checking in the lead position. Walker Fowler 1 second back, right on that rear grab bar. Bryson Neal checks in third. Hunter Hart is fourth. John Glotta Jr. in the number 5 spot. As we wait now for our XC2 riders to check in and see where they start to settle in. I'm going to guess that we're probably looking at top 3 possibly for Jay Shadron still, but I'm going to say that we're going to see him drop back just a little bit. Rodney, would be my opinion.
Rodney, look at Devin Feehan out front, man. He is doing well to answer the challenge, and I gotta say, the 2 guys you don't want behind you right now if you're trying to figure this thing out is Walker Fowler, Bryson. At the same time, who better to learn from? Hey, let me see. I'm going to show you boys I'm here for real. I am the guy. Interesting, I spoke with Devin's dad at the end of Florida, and he was talking about Devin's perspective, and he said, going back to when he really started getting competitive racing, and he essentially, once he got into the XC2 and into the pro class, he would watch these pro guys like, Walker Fowler, like Bryson Neal, and he literally just said, well, if they can make that move, if they can take that line, why can't I?
Right.
And he said, I just started doing it, and it started working, and then now I think it's getting to that point where leading a race, or at least competing in the top 3 of a race, is now going to be that muscle memory, that repetition is going to be there for Devin Feehan.
Absolutely, Mikey. And one thing I got to say is we are very impressed with the sprint speed that we have seen out of Devin Feehan. And remarkably, it's a sprint speed that he can maintain for a long period of time. It's not one lap. It's not a lap and a half.
Yeah.
Once he gets that sprint speed, he doesn't slow down. I haven't seen him tire. I haven't seen him wane any. Honestly, I believe oftentimes he's stronger at the end of the race than he is at the beginning of the race. And if that trend continues today in what we're seeing right here, he could walk away and leave Walker Fowler. And I'm not saying anything about Walker, but Walker's one of those riders, once he reaches a certain limit, he knows, hey, I'm not going to go any faster.
Right, yeah.
And he'll let him go.
Yeah, those years of Walker wanting to come out, and don't get me wrong, before people get upset at home, well, he wants to win. Of course he wants to win.
Yes.
But he's also learned, I think, and he'll admit it himself over the last few years, hey, if that win isn't there, I'm not going to kill myself, to try and get it. I'm going to settle for the podium and live to race another day. What a view.
Well, no doubt. Beautiful out here.
I don't know if that was on purpose or the wind pushed it that way, but it was a good view.
I was talking with our drone operator, Daniel Rogerson, as he was trying to fly the drone and answering questions, how's it going? Is it flying you around? He says it's not too bad. He says, unless I'm trying to go into the wind. He says, I can't get into the wind. Yeah. I can get max speed about 1 mile per hour.
That's nuts.
And the wind right now, I think we're probably pretty steady, 15 to 20 miles an hour right now. As we had wind advisories posted yesterday from the National Weather Service, and of course we've been letting folks know the rain and wind coming. Last night about 3 o'clock we got a good little gust of wind came through, and then we woke up this morning. I was kind of shocked that it wasn't windy, because last night wind.
Right, yeah.
We kept talking about it, and then as the sun has come up and the day is heated up, the longer the day goes on, the stronger the wind appears to be getting, and it's stronger now than it was, I believe, when we started the race, and I expect that it'll probably continue that trend. But it's that time of year, You never know what to expect whenever you're talking March in the eastern United States in general, whether you're in the south, whether you're in the north, or what. But it's the eastern United States definitely brings a whole big bag of tricks as far as weather is concerned, and Georgia always seems to answer with something. I will say this, muddy conditions. Oh, it's muddy. The muddy. I'll tell you, mud is when the bikes are buried up to their seats, standing straight up. And I've seen that. I was laughing to myself this morning coming across that field. And where the start is located, I can remember we had some grass track section there, and there were several places, not just one, but there were several spots in that field. Bikes were literally buried up to their seat as our leaders are checking in with us nose to tail. I believe it is still 7.
Look at that number 7, Rodney. Out in front. And going for it.
Yes. Oh, mercy. That was a
Makes
pass.
It stick. But that machine is smoking. Is it smoking because he went through the low area?
Yeah, I think that's steam that we're looking at that right now. I mean, traditionally, if it was an ATV motorbike, I would say, he's done. But I know these guys
out here in the woods.
Yeah, steam's just another part of the game as far as that comes. But Hunter Hart is taking that stab and that jab and making that pass into the number 3 spot. I wonder how Bryson Neal's going to respond to that.
Yeah, it's going to be some good back and forth. This one's setting up. I mean, it's to that point, Rodney. We talked about it a little bit ago. Round 1, you got the round 1 jitters. Round 2, it's the sand in Florida. It's that kind of one-off GNCC where it's like, hey, did you train down here? Great. If you didn't, you didn't. But Georgia, I feel like, is the one where we kind of start getting settled into what we expect to see. Gator on screen there.
Yep.
But what we expect to see as the season rolls on, and this is almost that round where it's like, I still have a shot. Maybe I haven't started these first 2 rounds, but I got a shot. I have to make it work here, and Hunter Hart's in that boat for sure.
Hunter Hart is definitely not finishing where he wants to finish. He's not, he doesn't feel he's representing that number 2 plate that he earned last season the way that it should be represented. We talk about the weight of numbers. Normally the championship plate is pretty heavy, but I have to think as well that number 2 plate is probably a heavy one in this ATV racing world because, man, I mean, runner-up position may not be the championship, but when you're racing against someone like Walker Fowler and the rest of the guys you're racing, to be able to achieve number 2, it's not a championship, but it is a major accomplishment in your career.
Not to mention, you look at it from this perspective of Hunter Hart, he's rocking that number 2, but all the hype really coming in was after round one, I should say, was between Bryson and Walker. And you go from having all off season where everybody's, Hunter, you're the guy, you're the one that's going to overtake it. And now that conversation changes to Bryson Neal, you're kind of like, well, hey guys, I'm still here. What about me? So it's just that weight of that number 2. You rock that number 2, you're kind of expected to be that guy to meet the challenge. And so far, those first couple rounds have been tough for Hunter. So he's doing what he needs to do today to get back on the map.
Oh yeah, you gotta be right there, and to have the front 4 riders so physically close together here. 2 laps, working on lap number 3. I would have expected that we'd seen a little bit of a breakaway by the end of lap number 2 there. At least it start to spread out a little bit. We'll see what happens here on lap number 3. But, Mikey, I'm going to say the trend in that may change today, too. We've seen that. We saw the battles that we've seen over at round 1. And these guys have been running nose to tail. Now, obviously, last race, Walker and Bryson kind of checked out on everyone. But, round 1, when we were in South Carolina, now we're here back to traditional GNCC type terrain. In Georgia, it's back to that same case scenario. So I have to wonder, I have to hope and think and get excited at the possibility that this might be what we'll be witnessing throughout the entire 2022 championship season.
I hope so, man. If we get some 4-way battles, the 2-way battles here in these first couple rounds have been wild enough. We can get some 4-way battles in here.
Well, we've got the talent for it. There's no doubt about that. And the thing about it is we've got talent for 6- and 7-man battles right down to the wire like that, to be honest with you. John Glotta, a little off pace back there. That we didn't necessarily see him right there in that shot when those four came through, but Glotta's right there. Jared McClure is about 11 seconds back. So in reality, our top 5 are really pretty close. Glotta, it says 1.2 seconds back behind Hart, but we got so tangled up in the pass, I think, with Bryson Neal and Hunter Hart there, that we may have totally missed, I did anyway, John Glotta going through there. So I think that he's still right there in the thick of things as well. The big gap, though, back to McClure, Cole Richardson, and Adam McGill. Some of our veteran riders, if you will, trying to play catch-up on this one. Jay Shadron has dropped to 9th place overall, just as expected. I thought we would see a little bit of a drop. I'm a little shocked it's that far back, but when we've got these riders running this intensely, this close together in the front of the pack, not surprising when you look at it from that perspective.
Yeah, no doubt. It's still solid ride out of them. And waiting on him to check in here.
Method Alley, man, look at the track. Very deceiving, like I said, as far as some of the low-lying areas. But this course, tomorrow, Mikey, is going to be probably pretty perfect. These guys go out tonight and see the soft areas and figure out the ways around that. It's going to be on for tomorrow's 2-wheel action. Not that it isn't on for the 4-wheel action today, but conditions soil-wise are getting better and better. I noticed after the morning start at 10 o'clock, we were already seeing dust in turn 2 down there on the starting line. And what I noticed is we've got that rain over the last couple of days, but it's only saturated the ground a couple of inches. So once you get through that, we're back to that hard packed dry stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if tomorrow, if the sun stays out, that we might see some dust by the end of the day on the course itself.
I made the joke because it's so windy, we weren't able to put up our backdrop for the podium. Otherwise, it'd be a wind sail. But we to improvise, we said, well, let's use the Racer TV water truck. Let's make that the backdrop. So that's what we did, because I said, well, it's not like we're going to need it this weekend. I may be wrong. Maybe we will need it tomorrow afternoon. Who knows?
I recognize that we probably wouldn't need it this weekend when I noticed that they hadn't even drug the water pumps out to fill the water. They were filling it with a water hose.
Yeah.
And I was thinking, they're probably thinking they only need to have one tank of water, and that's for fire department purposes. And
no doubt.
So that's it's a neat combination, and these guys look ahead. It's a science all the way around, from the racing to the track design to the setup and to it all. What is science going to prove to us today? Who's going to come out on top? Is it going to be a new winner? Will Devin Feehan finally break through and take the win in the GNCC? Stick around to find out. GNCC Live continues after this.
USMCA has been connecting riders to certified coaches since 2016. There are over 300 active certified coaches on motorcyclecoaching.org, and we recently launched our new mobile app, making it easy to connect with a coach and book your next training session. So here's what you do. Download the Motorcycle Coaching app, then search for coaches and upcoming classes. Once a training session is booked, riders have the option to pay for their class and even get a calendar reminder that will automatically sync to their phone. Get connected today.
Even when you're the best, you never stop striving to be better. With over 40 years of experience in motorcycle sales and service, we know racing. Our inventory of Yamaha motorcycles, sport bikes, dirt bikes, ATVs, and side-by-sides is extensive and constantly changing. Stop by LoJack Cycle Sales today in Tarentum, Pennsylvania, and visit our online inventory at www.lojacks.com. Yamaha YZs. It's why we ride.
How would you like to go to a school where we take into consideration how students learn best? Well, we do that because we find if we can build the curriculum around the things you are interested in, you're going to do a better job. The mission at On Track School is that educational success is possible while chasing your dreams. Not only will our staff help students to achieve success, they will cheer you on to the finish line. We encourage you to check out On Track School at ontrackschool.com, where we can help you chase your dreams and still get a quality education.
OnTrackSchool.com. Check it out.
Brown's RV Superstore is family owned and operated and stake their reputation on offering you the finest RVs available in their McBee, South Carolina RV dealership. Brown's RV Superstore carries motorhomes, fifth wheels, travel trailers, and toy haulers, and keep a huge inventory of new and used RVs in stock for you to choose from. They offer top dollar for your RV trade-in and help you get the RV financing you need. As a part of the GNCC family, Brown's RV Superstore, in partnership with Vengeance Toy Haulers, offers sponsorship packages for every level of racer with discounts and continued savings on your new toy hauler. Brown's RV Superstore has dedicated themselves to complete customer satisfaction, specializing in providing a positive start to your RV adventure. They look forward to customers coming back to share their tales from the road. Call Brown's RV Superstore today at 877-805-3658 or visit their website at brownsrvsuperstore.com, where family fun begins.
We all have our reasons to accomplish, to work hard. We share a common goal, to be the best. Keep fighting, put in the work, never take the easy way. Your drive and determination fuels our passion.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Kinetic Gaskets seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Kinetic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best. Kinetic Gaskets are constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environment, whether it's championships on the line or a day in the dirt with friends. Professionals and enthusiasts depend on Kinetic Gaskets, sealing championships since 1989.
AMSOIL runs on freedom and has since 1972. We punish our products firsthand in our world-class laboratories and beyond, because some things can't be learned from a test tube. Run with us.
Last season was my best season ever by far. I won a lot of races. I won a championship, and it was also my first year using ARMA. And one of the things I noticed was just my ability to string good days together. You know, like especially in the summertime in Florida where you're riding every day and the heat index is 108 degrees and you're doing 230s and going to the gym and bicycle and all that stuff. I think in the past I've been super inconsistent day to day. Yeah, I may have a good race here or a good day during the week there, but overall I think where I improved the most was my consistency in my recovery.
I'm seven-time GNCC champion Walker Fowler, and I run GBC.
Like a bullet into the first turn, the number one with the pink helmet and pink bars. It is Walker Fowler, the 17th.
Fist pump. You should be proud of yourself, Devin Feehan. What a ride today.
I'm Devin Feehan, and I run GBC.
I'm Josh Merritt, and I run GBC.
I'm Chris Borch, and I run
GBC.
Hey guys, Chris Borch here. I ride a Yamaha YFZ 450R in the Pro class at the GNCC. I also run AMSOIL oil in my engines. I run the 10W40 ATV, UTV oil. Had nothing but great luck. We just ran in Florida last weekend in a super hot race, really hard on clutches, and the oil worked great. Pulled the clutches out and they look brand new. So I highly recommend going with AMSOIL.
And welcome back to GNCC Live on RacerTV.com. Baby, you are looking at the FMF PowerPoint there at mile marker number 10. And this is round number 3, the Specialized General GNCC. Your leader, Devin Feehan, the On scoring, I love it. It says 007. It's number 7 on the machine. Old Bond out there is doing it. James Bond. Feehan. Devin Feehan.
He fits that bill, too. I could see him in a...
Heck yeah. Nice Armani suit. And a big...
Not yet.
Devin Feehan. He does need a nickname,
he does.
dude. He's...
Special Agent Devin Feehan.
Yeah, there you go.
Agent Devin.
He gets a win. You're going to have a nickname.
Oh, no doubt.
Walker Fowler sitting in the number 2 spot. Bryson Neal rounding out that top 3. For how long will those guys be able to get around Feehan? I got to hand it to Feehan, Rodney. I mean, answering the challenge of running up front with those guys. We'll see if he can hang on to it. He's got a ways to go. We're, an hour and 15 into it.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, boy, Devin, great ride so far. And, I think he is the real deal.
Oh, yeah. Hey, check this out. All the way up to 16th overall now is Kevin Yoho, new leader of the Vet A30 Plus class. That drops, looks like Jeff Pickens back now 1 minute back behind in the number 2 spot.
Whoa.
He is still 20th place overall. By the way, James Glotta, the 928 College A class leader, is now 19th place overall leading the College A class. So we've got 2 different classes in our top amateurs right now. And if you're looking at elapsed time, wondering where Glotta and Yoho stack up against one another in the overall, a 56.47 elapsed time for Kevin Yoho when he checked in. James Glotta was a 57.44. So when we start doing the math there, we are looking at about a minute, 57 seconds or so difference in that. So Glotta still got a little bit of ground to gain there in order to put himself in a position to be the top amateur, but here we are at basically just past the halfway point, and I have to wonder if he might have it. A 31.44 lap time for that rider, a 31.13 lap time for Kevin Yoho. So Yoho still got the speed, there's no doubt about that. A former XC1 Pro Class racer himself. And speaking of which, we got our leaders out front right now checking in with us, and that is Fowler. Was that Fowler up front there? I think Fowler has regained the lead on Devin Feehan now, as our front 4 are still pretty close together, and it still looks like that. I believe that is the 241 of Bryson Neal maybe pulling up the 4th place position. Now this would be your 5th and 6th place rides, I believe, which should be John Glotta Jr. and Jared McClure now. McClure was only 11 seconds back of John Glotta, so John's fallen off the pace a little bit of the front 4, and it looks like that Jared McClure has reeled him in. Cole Richardson also working on that, making that happen as well. So things are starting to change up just a little bit now as we roll through this now 3rd lap of racing here at an hour and 18 minutes into the racing action. So as we roll through this, and Mikey Wayne's going to find himself down into the pro pit area as we try to sort things out. And one rider that he is wondering about is that rider right there, the 521 of Adam McGill, the Gator, as he makes his way through the FMF PowerPoint here at mile marker number 10 on lap number 3. Man, this is going pretty quick. 9 minutes. These riders will be coming through for another lap complete. That'll put us somewhere in the neighborhood of about the 1 hour and 30-minute mark, and that should put us just a few minutes away from, well, 1 lap away from checkers. And I'm expecting this race to run about an hour and 58 minutes. It may pick up a little bit, but I'm not thinking a whole lot as we roll through the now what I would consider closing moments of this, or heading into the closing moments of this 3rd round of GNCC racing we know and love here in Georgia as this General GNCC. Trying to pick up on some numbers and some riders as they check in with us, getting back through the pack a little bit. Looking for looking for Abney and Johnny Gallagher and believe we should be seeing Josh Merritt check through here in just a moment, and we may be seeing that number 12 also checking through very quickly in the form of Jay Shadron, who is 9th overall. There's your leader at the 11-mile marker. It is Walker Fowler, and the 7-007, if you will, of Feehan, Devin Feehan, and the number 2 spot. We're starting to see a little breakaway there. 3rd and 4th place positions. It's Hart in 3rd, and then Bryson Neal in the number 4 spot. We saw Hart make that pass on Neal there a few miles back, about halfway through this lap, and he's been maintaining that pace ever since. And you have to wonder what sense of urgency Bryson Neal be looking at now that he's starting to see a gap open up between 2nd and 3rd place position as he sits right back there in the front row seat in 4th. You have to think that things are going to tighten up. Glotta and McClure making their way through. I believe Richardson should be coming through here in just a moment as well in the 733 machine as we make our way down by this front pond here at Aonia Pass Motocross Park. I was noticing this this morning on my way back from the 11 o'clock start, the wind blowing, and it was waking up fairly big in that pond as the wind grew across at Whitecapping, and I was thinking, man, you can tell the wind is blowing hard just by looking at that water, as it was almost looking ocean-like. Right now, as we check in with our leaders, that is Walker Fowler on point and starting to, looks like, put some distance between himself and the number 2 spot of Devin Feehan now. Now, remember, we talked about the sprint speed of Devin Feehan. This right here is a good test to see whether or not he is able to continue at the Walker Fowler pace for an entire race. We talked about the endurance level that Devin Feehan has, and look at this. There's 3rd place now sneaking into the pictures. Things are tightening up there. Where is the 4th place ride of the 241? I believe that's still Hart back in the number 3 position, but I don't see 4th place. I didn't see 4th place going by unless I missed them. But that's our leaders working their way through the woods. Again, on point there is Walker Fowler, and we'll get an official account of what's going on as our leaders check in at the finish line now here. This will be for 3 laps complete in this specialized general GNCC. Fowler is in with a 28.52, a 28.57 for Devin Feehan. They're 3.6 seconds apart, and now we are waiting on 3rd and 4th place position to trip the transponders. And it is Hunter Hart and Bryson Neal, 1.1 seconds. So Neal is still back there. That gap a little larger back to the 3rd place position of Hunter Hart than what I thought. So that must have been a lapped rider that we saw there trying to keep pace with Hunter Hart at one point. So that explains a little bit, and that explains that we still got a heated and torrid battle for the number 3 position as we wait for that 5th place rider to check in next. And there it is, John Glotta Jr., Jared McClure, Cole Richardson, all in now, and the gap 17 seconds back to Glotta. Now the gap is 8.7 between Glotta and McClure, and less than a second between McClure and Cole Richardson as they check through the finish line barrels there just a few moments ago. So John Glotta's got a little bit of breathing room there in the number 5 position. Another solid ride there by the youngster from North Carolina. Looking down on portions of the Aonia Pass motocross track due to conditions with the rain and different things like that. I think it has been elected not to run the moto track so much here today, so they are basically bypassing that section and keeping it in the woods and keeping it real, if you will. Man, I tell you, gotta love these live drone shots here early in the spring or late in the winter, however you want to classify it on the calendar. But the thing that is best for us right now is the fact that we don't have a lot of trees. We're starting to see a little green buds pop out on the trees as spring is just around the corner here in Georgia. But we still have plenty of great visual down to the forest floor where we can continue to watch the battles rage on here on GNCC Live. Fowler really putting down some lap times out there, but impressively, Devin Feehan has not waned much, at least at the moment. The gap, I think, is as large as it has been the entire race at 3.6 seconds as we get a good shot up there. Our finish line flagger and, of course, official start man, Mr. Ricky Towery, known across the world, honestly and respectfully, as possibly one of the greatest off-road flaggers. There's the number 9, Chris Bohr, 75-time overall winner in GNCC racing. He's a 6-time GNCC champion. And, of course, 39 years old and still got the gusto, I think. It'll be interesting to see whether or not he finds himself in a position to battle with these front runners here at some point in the season, especially as we go further north. I expect to see Chris Borch be a little bit more of a contender as he checks in that 9th place position that is in the pro class and as of right now for the overall, as we haven't seen our XC2. What we have now is Brandon Owens and, well, let's see, is Brandon Owens. I believe he is your new leader. Owens takes over the number 9 spot. Where is Jay Shadron? I guess would be the next question. If Mikey Wayne's down in the pits, might be able to get an answer for us on that one. So Owens, your new leader, 9th overall. That pushes Chris Borch back to a 10th place overall position. And we wait here and see who checks in next as far as our riders with 3 laps complete. Owens, according to my calculations, has been the last rider to do that. Jay Shadron is in now, 40 seconds back. So he must have gotten tangled up in a mud hole or gotten tangled up with some lap traffic. But whatever the case may be, Jay Shadron has now dropped to the number 12 overall position. Remember, Shadron leading this one by 0.2 of a second at the end of the first lap. As we check in at the 2-mile marker, monster mile, it is still Walker Fowler out front of Devin Feehan, as those two are still running within about 3 seconds of one another. Again, folks, apologizing for video quality. We are having some major winds that are blowing out here, and our antennas are bouncing around quite a bit, so that is affecting our feed a little bit. There goes that battle for 3rd, still between Hart and Neal, and I almost have to think, I believe Neal might have been in that number 3 spot there, if I'm not mistaken. And Hart may have dropped back to the number 4 spot. Looked like the more yellow back there. But again, this red Georgia clay can be a little bit deceiving. But both riders are still right there battling for the number 3 spot. Here comes your, I believe this will be your 5th and 6th place. And 7th place just around the corner. We've got John Glotta Jr. checking in through with us. Jared McClure also in that number 6 spot. Should be coming in just a moment. And right on his rear grab bar will be the 733 of Cole Richardson when that happens. So some excitement, or it should be anyway, if that lap time at that finish there at the finish was any indication. But we are 2 miles later, so a lot of things could have taken place between now and this monster mile. Riders traversing trails that honestly are becoming better and better as the day goes on. Can't ask, I mean, honestly, when you look at it overall, for the most part, this track has got perfect conditions, maybe even starting to get a little hard pack in some areas out there, which will relate into slick conditions as well, especially for the motorcycles tomorrow. And those youth riders at 8 o'clock tomorrow morning are going to have their hands full. But the beauty of it is I know that the track crew's been doing a great job of trying to facilitate the best tracks possible for these youth riders on Sunday mornings, and big tip of the hat for that and making that happen. So as we continue to check in with 3 laps complete at the finish line, just to give you an idea and a heads up on what's going on, Steve Harrell now in the number 3 spot of the XC2. Austin Abney is in, but he's behind Johnny Gallagher. Waiting on the Vet A 30 Plus class, waiting on the College A class as well. Yoho was looking at a near 1 minute lead over Jeff Pickens at the end of lap number 2 there in the Vet A class. And it was James Glotta. Almost called him James Glotta Jr., but that's John Glotta Jr., College A class leader, leading Alex Tiemann by 2 minutes, 13 seconds. Wow. That's impressive. to say the least. Nathan Dearborn, another 17 seconds back in third in that College A class. Joey Osell out of Mechanicstown, Ohio in fourth. Keaton Henderson rounding out the top 5 of College A competition. And as we look back to 6th, Parker Henderson, Tyler Cox in 7th. Dalton Keys is up to an 8th place position now. Remember, he was back in 16th place position at the end of lap number 1. This is at the end of lap 2 for the College A, so we may see Keys up even further. Trevor Furby in the number 9 spot. Jacob Fleming rounding out the top 10. Lane McCormick, a rider we expected to see working his way, who we did have up front, I guess we should say, in the early part of this, turns in a 38-minute lap time that last time around. And when we start doing the math, he is still only about 4 minutes behind. So he lost about 7 minutes and is only about 4 minutes out of the lead. So that tells you what kind of a rider that rider can be out there whenever he has the opportunity. But it's James Glotta leading. It was Lane McCormick, I believe, a little further up, but he still lost time and it's got some time to make up. Cody Forrester, 14th. So some big names in that College A class right now. Waiting on our leaders. Did they go through yet? All right, so our leaders have checked in. No change. 1 and 2. It's still Walker Fowler and Devin Feehan. And I believe that means what we should probably be looking at. Bryson Neal checking in now, so he has secured that number 3 position. Hunter Hart is now in the number 4 spot, so that's kind of switched around. It looks like now, remember when we saw him coming by the pond there a few moments ago, I said that that Bryson Neal was seeing that gap open up between that 2nd and 3rd place position. That's something that he wasn't going to want to see happen very long, so he put the pressure on finally. All right, Mikey Wayne's down in the pro pits right now. Mikey, what is going on, buddy?
Well, running by popular demand, according to Mark.
Well, we'll try to check back in with Mikey here in just a few moments. Obviously, the wind taking its toll on that as well here this morning. An hour and 32 minutes nearly into this race, and our leaders due in about just under 19 minutes, and we'll be looking for checker flags. Folks, we'll be back. When we come back, we'll give you a quick rundown of all of our classes and keep you up to date and take you home to the checkers. We are live here at the Specialized General GNCC.
USMCA has been connecting riders to certified coaches since 2016. There are over 300 active certified coaches on motorcyclecoaching.org, and we recently launched our new mobile app, making it easy to connect with a coach and book your next training session. So here's what you do. Download the Motorcycle Coaching app, then search for coaches and upcoming classes. Once a training session is booked, riders have the option to pay for their class and even get a calendar reminder that will automatically sync to their phone. Get connected today.
Even when you're the best, you never stop striving to be better. With over 40 years of experience in motorcycle sales and service, we know racing. Our inventory of Yamaha motorcycles, sport bikes, dirt bikes, ATVs, and side-by-sides is extensive and constantly changing. Stop by LoJack Cycle Sales today in Tarentum, Pennsylvania, and visit our online inventory at www.lojacks.com. Yamaha YZs. It's why we ride.
How would you like to go to a school where we take into consideration how students learn best? Well, we do that because we find if we can build the curriculum around the things you are interested in, you're going to do a better job. The mission at On Track School is that educational success is possible while chasing your dreams. Not only will our staff help students to achieve success, they will cheer you on to the finish line. We encourage you to check out On Track School at ontrackschool.com, where we can help you chase your dreams and still get a quality education.
OnTrackSchool.com. Check it out.
Brown's RV Superstore is family owned and operated and stake their reputation on offering you the finest RVs available in their McBee, South Carolina RV dealership. Brown's RV Superstore carries motorhomes, fifth wheels, travel trailers, and toy haulers, and keep a huge inventory of new and used RVs in stock for you to choose from. They offer top dollar for your RV trade-in and help you get the RV financing you need. As a part of the GNCC family, Brown's RV Superstore, in partnership with Vengeance Toy Haulers, offers sponsorship packages for every level of racer with discounts and continued savings on your new toy hauler. Brown's RV Superstore has dedicated themselves to complete customer satisfaction, specializing in providing a positive start to your RV adventure. They look forward to customers coming back to share their tales from the road. Call Brown's RV Superstore today at 877-805-3658 or visit their website at brownsrvsuperstore.com, where family fun begins.
We all have our reasons to accomplish, to work hard. We share a common goal, to be the best. Keep fighting, put in the work, never take the easy way. Your drive and determination fuels our passion.
Born of family values and a homegrown work ethic, Cometic Gaskets seals your machine so you can focus on the finish line. Cometic Gaskets are the competitive standard for racers who demand the very best. Cometic Gaskets are constructed from superior materials designed to perform in the most demanding environment, whether it's championships on the line or a day in the dirt with friends. Professionals and enthusiasts depend on Cometic. Cometic Gaskets, sealing championships since 1989.
AMSOIL runs on freedom and has since 1972. We punish our products firsthand in our world-class laboratories and beyond, because some things can't be learned from a test tube. Run with us.
This Racer TV broadcast is brought to you by Specialized. Specialized Turbo e-bikes. It's you, only faster. And by Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Get ready. Welcome back to GNCC Live from Ionia Pass in Washington, Georgia for round 3 of America's Premier Off-Road Racing Championship. It's the GNCC Series presented by Specialized, and this is the Specialized
General GNCC as we check in with the 11-mile marker, and we also check in with what's going on in the rest of our classes. We are an hour and nearly 40 minutes into this one now, just over an hour 39, about 12 minutes, 10, 11 minutes or so. We should be seeing our leaders check in, but right now, leading the XC2 Pro-Am class, Brandon Owens, Jay Shadron in the number 2 spot, Steve Harrell is third, Dylan Walraven in fourth, Grayson Eller still holding steady back there in the number 5 spot with Daniel Peters in 6th, Tanner Walker in 7th, Chase Allison 8th, Albert Jadish in 9th, and 10th place Shane McMillan. Now top 5 there in that College A class, James Scolata, Keaton Henderson, Nathan Dearborn, Parker Henderson, and Dalton Keys now up to a 5th place position as we expected to see him moving up through the pack, and has been doing just exactly that. As we go to the College B class now, Denton White after 2 leading Evan Grannon in the number 3 spot, the 517 of Jeremy Kogar, in 4th place position, the 285 of Caden Lambruno, and rounding out the top 5, the 209 of Christopher Howard. As we look at the Junior A 22-plus class, the 21 of Glenshaw, Pennsylvania's Jeremy Ladon leading by about 33 seconds over Seth Wilson, the 501 out of Schmuck, Pennsylvania. Alex Elioff, who got the whole shot in this class and one of the tough, rough guns, the 317 is running in third. Caden Ryan in the number 4 spot, and it's Brady Myers, the number 48, in the number 5 position. As we look at Junior B standings now, after 2, it's Colin Dunn, the 917, due in about 9 minutes, leading Jordan Burnett after that second lap. They were, wow, about neck and neck when they came through the finish line there. 0-0-0 is what we've got as far as the distance that separated those two. So a good run going into the Junior B 22-plus class. William Wallace running in the number 3 spot. 4th place Sean Newhouse, and Michael Donston rounds out the top 5 in Junior B. As we look next to the Vet A class, it is Kevin Yoho, who is top 16 right now in the overall, and our top amateur rider from Hopedale, Ohio, a 2-minute and 7-second lead now over the 22 of Jeffrey Pickens. A.J. Kuntz is third. Michael McAvoy in the number 4 spot. And it's Brad Whitehead, the number 25, rounding out the top 5. Vet B class sees Joey Margaria in the number 1 spot, the 788 out of Avella, Pennsylvania, with the 331 of Taylor Lazelle in 2nd. 824 Corey Pancake is 3rd. Stephen Moore, the 662, in 4th. And Ryan Simmons, the 344, rounds out the top 5 in the Vet B class. As we go next to the Senior A class, Brian Shaw out of Harrisville, Pennsylvania, a 22-second lead after 3 over Corbin Knox, the 810 from Stoneboro, Pennsylvania. You got a good race going on between those two riders right now. Looks like Shaw really getting a good push there on that last lap. Still looking for Chris Conklin in the number 3 spot with Michael Hayes, the 427, in 4th, and Brian Axline to round out the top 5 in your Senior A. As far as Senior B is concerned, Scott Wilhelm, the 107 from Carmichael's, Pennsylvania, leading Rick Marino from Niles, Ohio. The 58 of Tim White is running in the number 3 spot. Chad Judy is 4th, and Richie McCauley in 5th. Both Judy and McCauley out of Elkins, West Virginia, riding together about 4 seconds apart right now. As I believe that might be it. That's all of our classes. So we ran them all down. Our XC1 Pro class, Walker Fowler, Devin Feehan, Hunter Hart, Bryson Neal, John Glotta Jr. That's your top 5. Jared McClure in 6th, Cole Richardson 7th, 8th is Adam McGill, 9th is Chris Borich, and 10th is Josh Merritt in class. Right now, Brandon Owens is 9th overall, pushing Chris Borich back to 10th overall. Josh Merritt in 11th overall, and back in the 12th place position, I should say, is the number 12 of Jay Shadron, 2nd in the XC2 Pro-Am class. Now remember, leading the class over Brandon Owens, leading the overall by 0.2 of a second over Walker Fowler at the end of lap number 1. It's been a rather storied race for the number 12 machine from Acme, Pennsylvania here in the last hour and 43 minutes or so, and I'm sure he's got plenty more to that story before it's all said and done as this white flag continues to wave here in northeast Georgia. Again, rain showers over the last couple of days, cloudy skies, and then of course windy conditions moving in last night as we're still under a wind advisory from the National Weather Service right now, drying things up quite a bit, especially on top of the hill and in some of those open areas where the sun's beating down out there. A little bit deceiving, I think, at what parts of the track can be and are like out there. I think the riders, the story tells the story basically when you see those guys from the early part of the race, especially when they were just covered in mud, and obviously a lot of that drying up now, a lot of that pushed out, but still those low areas out there, still those areas that are causing issues and problems, and that slight stutter that puts you in a circumstance of maybe a slight mistake. Walker Fowler not able to really enjoy much breathing room heading into this one. 3.6 seconds has been about the biggest gap we've seen between these riders. We may have seen it go a little bit wider than that here on this lap, but as we wait on the leaders at the 10-mile marker, they are due in, according to my calculations, in about 6 minutes at the finish line. So that was going to put us right around the 1 hour 50 some minute mark, early 150s, I believe, whenever they finally do check in at the finish line itself. But we're still a long way to go from that. A couple of miles is a long way to go when you're in this circumstance right there. Walker Fowler, and it is Devin Feehan in the number 2 spot. Again, and there is, wow, the 241. No, that's not him. I thought that was him for just a second. Then I realized he's a little bigger than what Bryson Neal is. I was going to say, Bryson's really bridged that gap up there. But regardless, Feehan in a great position. We talked about the great sprint speed he has, and given the opportunity, if a position and an area opens itself up, we may see Devin Feehan put that pressure on Walker Fowler, and this could go right down to the very wire. I mean, these guys could be side by side coming out of that final turn, and it'll be a matter of a drive into the checker flag to see who's going to steal the win away today. So we're going to be waiting at the finish line with, I'm sure, bated breath and probably a lot of nails being chewed for a lot of folks, especially the Devin Feehan camp, as they are hoping that he's able to pull that rabbit out of the hat today. And they've got less than 5 minutes now, according to timing and scoring, to wait on this to unfold before their very eyes. Will we see the history of Devin Feehan taking and staking claims as the center guy on the box here today, as he wins the battle here in Georgia? And I believe that's still Hunter Hart and Bryson Neal, maybe in 3rd and 4th. Yeah, I think yeah, that's them. And man, that gap is opening up quite a bit. Is that your 5th place, right? John Glotta, I believe, is caught up to them as well. So we've got a 3-way battle going on for 3rd place right now as they check in at the FMF PowerPoint. So wow, how quickly things can change out there. And maybe conditions may be a little rougher out there than what I anticipate, because it looks like that that gap had opened up well over 30 seconds, which was at 11 seconds at the end of this 3rd lap of racing, which was about 10 miles ago. A lot of lap traffic and a lot of obstacles in between that, but also intensity up front between Fowler and Feehan, as Feehan has pretty much covered every move since Walker Fowler has made the pass on him, and he has shadowed him step by step through the most of this latter part of this race. So coming down to the wire, like I said, the sprint speed that Devin Feehan has, and we know, or at least it appears, that his physical conditioning is certainly one of the best and one of the greatest out there. And if those two combinations work out well in his favor today, he may get his first win. But the thing that we got to realize and recognize too, Walker Fowler has great sprint speed. He also has great endurance. It's going to take a mistake, maybe on the part of Walker Fowler, and to force that rider into a mistake is a very difficult situation. However, we have seen it happen sometimes, and here in the early part of the season, it's easier to let things slip away than when you get a little later in the season. So it'll be interesting to see how this one does unfold. According to my calculations, we are less than 3 minutes from the finish line, as we should be seeing those leaders out near the 11 and heading toward the 12 here pretty soon in that battle for the number 1 spot between Fowler and Feehan. Can Feehan make it happen here today? Will we see a new rider in the center of the box? And if he does that, wow, what will that do for the championship points race? He'll gain some points on those riders. He'll still be 3rd in the point standings, But, wow, it'll tighten things up, and we'll have a three-way championship working here. And quite possibly, depending on how John Glotta and Jerry McClure do here today, they might still have their hat in the ring as far as the battle for the championship is concerned here in the early part of the season as well. If you look at point standings coming into this round, Neal and Fowler were both tied at 55. Then you had Devin Feehan with 39, and tied in fourth place with 34 points apiece was Jared McClure and John Glotta Jr., and just behind them was Cole Richardson with 31 points. So those top 6 riders all right there. There's Walker Fowler at the 11-mile marker, and he is all by himself nearly, as Devin Feehan still trying to keep that pace now, and is that, what was it? Lap rider? I don't know. That may have been Bryson Neal. I may have miscalled that a few moments ago. I don't know. Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. They're a lot tighter than what I originally thought they're coming through. We have a good battle going on. There's no doubt about that. Regardless, so. Here we go down to the wire. We'll know for sure when they make their way into the closing stretches here. Some lap traffic going by here at the 11-mile marker down by the Front Road Pond at Aonia Pass. Lap traffic certainly, I'm sure, has played some key roles in this final lap of battle in this competition. Going for the Confederate gold out here, I guess you could say. I'll try to remember to tell that story tomorrow, but there is about $100,000 worth of Confederate gold buried here somewhere in Washington County. They call the Lost Gold, and a lot of history in that for sure. So if nothing else, come back for my story tomorrow. Check it out for yourself online on Wikipedia. But we're waiting right now for our own bit of history in this battle. Our own general, Walker Fowler, finding his way around this race course one final time, just over the 1 hour and 50-minute mark, 51 minutes into this one. And in through the pro pits one final time as we watch our Yamaha live drone here. And winding through the trees in this heated battle for the round number 3 win. Walker Fowler, will he be able to hang on to it, or will Devin Feehan surprise the masses here as we charge to checkers in Washington? The final turns coming, and out of the wood sections come your leader, and there is Walker Fowler as he takes the checkers and the win, and win number 70 on the road to the glory of win number 75. But it is Walker Fowler, your general GNCC champion and overall winner, as he stakes his claims here, taking another win. He won here last year. Bryson Neal finished second, but this year it's all about the young gun, Devin Feehan, on the number 7 machine. There is Hunter Hart checking in now. He will take the 3rd place position. No, that's 2nd place position. Bryson Neal is 3rd. What happened to Devin Feehan? I didn't see that. Devin Feehan is all the way back and forth, so no wonder we were so confused. Now, I'm going to blame it on that camera shot being a little bit distorted because of the current weather conditions, but we had a major change-up going on there. Didn't even see that, recognize it coming in. Walker Fowler finishes 7 seconds ahead of Hunter Hart. Bryson Neal finishes 3rd, 1.2 seconds back of that, and Devin Feehan 27 seconds back. So that problem coming well before, I think, that 11-mile marker, and that kind of explains a few things and questions that we may have had as we saw those riders going into the final stretches. But nonetheless, Walker Fowler did exactly what he needed to do one more time. Win number 70 with a, man, you got to think that helmet probably weighs about 12 pounds more than it did when that race started. So not only did he have to race under normal circumstances, but the extra weight on body, the extra weight on machine, he had also an extra weight coming in competition today as, again, you do the math, the top 3 finishing 8.3 seconds apart for our top 3 overall. Pretty impressive stuff, to say the least. And Mikey Waynes is down there in that winner's circle area as he's getting ready to get the victory speech with Walker Fowler here in just a moment, and I'm sure a lot of great excitement and enthusiasm for Walker as he gains a little bit of a stranglehold on the points lead now, as Bryson Neal will finish a couple of positions back, which should give Walker now about a 7-8 point lead heading into this next round here in a few weeks, and a little more of a comfort zone as they check with Walker Fowler. And these are the kind of days that happens. You get those get the mud behind the goggles. Sometimes you have to rip those goggles off. You get the mud in the eyes, and oftentimes these riders come away with scratched corneas. Hopefully it's not that big of an issue, but a little bit of something there in Walker Fowler's eyes as he is being congratulated by the family and friends and the supporters that helped make it all happen. A big team and a great effort there that has made Walker Fowler this amazing champion that he is, celebrating his 7th here in the Grand National Cross Country Series, going for championship number 8 here in the 2022 season. And sounds like Mikey Waynes may be ready down at Victory Lane.
Hey, I'm ready. I'm ready, Rodney. Hey, Adam, just an FYI, if you can get that over the PA. I'm not sure if it's coming through or not, but it's coming through on Racer TV. Down here with Walker Fowler, who finishes in P1 here today. Walker, still getting the mud out of your eye, man. Hey, win number 70.
Man, what a story. Good day. I'm excited. That was tough. I know these guys, and Hunter will tell you, Devin will tell you. It was a race where you felt like everyone was going so slow, and you're like, oh my God, if I could just get to the front, I'm going to run away with this thing. And you got to the front, and you were like, I don't want to be here. Like, you just couldn't go fast. The track was so spongy, and so that red clay gets so slick, and then there's sand, and then there's black loam that's 6 foot deep on the side of the trail that we've been, the 4x4s threw off, and man, if you got out of the ruts, it was game over, or you had to get out of the ruts, and it was just trying to remember the bad spots and just trying to go faster you could. And that last lap traffic, man, there was one mud hole about the 7 mile marker, and I was like, man, if I could just get through that. I'm made in the shade, and I followed the only Raptor 660 on the track into it, and we all got stuck on each other. Track's 100 feet wide. I don't know how many people went by, and I get behind Bryson, and I see Hunter up ahead, and I'm like, and I know Devin, I believe, was stuck behind me, and I'm just like, man, that sucks. Like, I'm 3rd or 4th for sure, and the only guy I really need to beat, Bryson, I was like, and he's ahead of me. Like, no matter what I do, I got to get ahead of him. I don't care if it's for 4th, for 6th, whatever. I just got to try to get some points, and man, I had a line picked out at the last creek crossing, which turns out when I come up to it, I was like, oh no, I forgot about this. This is the second worst part of the track. And upstream or downstream, actually, I blitzed the creek, and these guys kind of tiptoed their way up further ahead, and I just bonsaied it. I'm like, I'm already wet and cold, and we got a mile to go or 2 miles to go. Might as well send it, and I just barely got around the front of Hunter. And then luckily Todd McDonald with Ampro Yamaha was there to help us get through that last little part. Huge shout out to him for letting us come out to his property a couple of times already this year, and we'll probably be going back at some point. But yeah, just awesome. So excited. 70 wins. Smart race. Today was all about smart, and I'm really proud of these two guys. It's the guys that we all thought would be running up front. Just took Hunter a couple races to get going, but Bryson's riding good. It was fun. And yeah, I'm losing my voice, I guess. But yeah, just want to give a huge shout out to my parents, the whole WFR Yamaha team, the Pipers at home watching. Thank you so much. My mechanic Mark Notman, Yamaha Fly Racing, GBC, FMF Exhaust, and just all our awesome sponsors. Thank you. Oh, and hi to Grandma Joe. We're thinking of you. And DWT Wheels, man, we're hooking up so with these GBC tires. We're so good. I'm so happy to have them on board. And 70 wins, baby. Here we go.
There you go. A smart win, in the words of Walker Fowler.
Well, I'll tell you what, that explains that madness and mayhem, the confusion that had me at the 10-mile marker with the craziness that was going on there. So Walker had dropped back, and things had tightened up, and that was a four-way shootout we were looking at there. So that explains a lot, and that's the beauty of GNCC racing, man, how this all changes so much over the course of time. This final lap certainly gave us a lot to be excited about, and Hunter Hart especially excited as he lands himself in the number 2 spot on the box. Mikey?
Hey, Hunter Hart, man, I got to say, this is where we expect to see you, man. It took you a couple rounds to get here, but finally things clicking for you better today.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, I had a great start and actually grabbed the whole shot, and then from there it just I ended up getting something in my front wheel, and it locked up. I ended up falling to, I think, it was probably 5th or 6th, and then from there I just kind of kept digging myself out of the hole. And then I was fortunate enough to hook up with Beneal, and we were basically trucking to the front. He was super cool, and we just basically rode together. We ended up getting, there was this one mud hole, I'd say probably right after the 8. Massive. I mean, it was probably 100 feet wide. We roll in, and we see, I saw Walker's bike sideways, and I had Dev behind him, and Bryson went way wide, and I was like, well, I'm going to jump here, and luckily these long legs allowed for me to get that front end light, and I was able to jump back over, and I led from there till, man, right before the creek at the 10. I don't even know where Walker came from, and he ended up getting me there, and I honestly was just kind of conserving the clutch that last lap, ended up completely smoking it. And yeah, it was good though. You know, we made a couple changes to the bike. The biggest one was we put my white plastics back on, so it's good. We're back at it.
All right, so we can expect. We know how superstitious Hunter Hart is. It's going to be white plastics moving forward.
Oh yeah, we ordered a fresh set last week, and it'll be white. You know, go with white, and you're right.
All right, Hunter Hart, White Lightning out here, Rodney, finishing the P2.
Wow, what a day, man. I'm still reeling in the feeling of what kind of excitement we saw unfold here on this final lap of racing and what that means for the rest of this 2022 season. Outstanding ride by all of our riders, but impeccable performance by Walker Fowler, no doubt, rising to the occasion, and Hunter Hart, as well as Bryson Neal, who finishes 3rd, man, squeaks that one in here today, and what a solid ride he was able to put forth here today. Devin Feehan in the 4th place position again, and John Glotta Jr. rounding out the top 5, but we head back down to the winner's circle in our 3rd place position once again. The Bidwell Bullet, Bryson Neal. And Mikey Waynes.
All right, Rodney, I'm thinking you're cueing it down to me. Sorry, buddy, I can't hear anything down here. We're down here with Bryson Neal nonetheless, man. Bidwell Bullet finishing out here on the podium today in what was a gnarly General GNCC.
Oh, yeah, for sure. You know, I didn't have clear track the whole day. It was sloppy, muddy. The ruts were deep. I got my butt burnt today by not running gauntlets. My hands were numb as soon as I went to the woods, and I was like, long day. So it was a great race. You know, we're super happy to get 3rd. On the last lap, man, it was nuts. I got by Hunter, and then we was getting closer to Walker and Devin. We was about 10 seconds out, and then they got stuck together, and I got around them, and I went clear around the outside. Hunter shot right through the middle, got me, and then, I don't know, it's about a mile before we got to where you guys could see us behind the finish. Walker crossed the creek a little bit earlier and got Hunter and me at the exact same time. So I went from 2nd to 3rd, and it was so tough to pass from there on out. I was trying everything I could on Hunter to sneak one in. But, you know, with a real muddy day, and we're super pumped to get out of here with 3rd place and points, get back to some dry stuff, and burn some fast laps.
There you go. Get back to some dry stuff and burn some fast laps. There you go, Rodney. Finishing in P3, the Bidwell Bullet.
Well, to say the least, we certainly saw him burning some fast laps down here today, as what an exciting finish. Walker Fowler coming out on top of that one. Hunter Hart in 2nd and Bryson Neal in 3rd. And great run by Devin Feehan. I know he's probably a little disappointed in that one, finishing about 27 seconds back. Big picture, though, Devin Feehan is here. John Glotta Jr. in the number 5 spot. Jared McClure in 6th. Cole Richardson for 7th. Adam McGill is 8th. Jay Shadron holds on. Wow comes back and wins the XC2 Pro-Am class. Takes 9th place overall. Josh Merritt rounds out the top 10 overall. And Brandon Owens checks in 16 seconds back in the number 11 spot overall, 2nd in the XC2 Pro-Am.
And by the way, third in the Pro-Am, Steve Harrell on the number 908. It has certainly been an exciting day, to say the least, my friends, and the excitement continues here tomorrow from Georgia and Aonia Pass for the Specialized General GNCC. Be sure and tune in tomorrow around 1 o'clock as two-wheel action takes to the airwaves. And, of course, on behalf of all of us here at Racer TV, great job today by our camera operators Matt Gabriel, Nick Vosberg, Adam Atkins, and Brett Tustin. Also, great job by our producer Adam Gordon, Griff Cotter, our director, and, of course, Jordan McFadden, Dylan Acord doing a great job of keeping things set up. Dan, thank you for all your great managing skills as well. On behalf of Mikey Waynes, I'm Rodney Tomlin. We'll see you back here tomorrow.